So last Saturday a week ago, I went to my 50th high school reunion. That seems crazy to me. There were many people there who were in bad shape. And I don't just mean overweight. There were, a lot of overweight people that were fine. But there were people who were gray in the face, and people who obviously had pain, and people in wheelchairs and walkers. People exactly my same age, like exactly my same age. Many of them had already died. So that was one thing that happened this past week. Another thing that happened is I've been having this like feeling that my heart is pounding, and it doesn't last for long, and it doesn't hurt, But I've noticed that I really need to, that my lungs aren't as strong as they were. And so I've been using a lung respiratory therapy kind of thing. And I've been doing that. That's helping a lot. And then the other thing was, I gave blood on Friday, and I've never had this experience before. I gave the blood. It wasn't as easy to come out as it usually is, and so it took a little bit longer. And then I went to the grocery store, and I came home, and I could barely, you're not supposed to carry much, but I could barely carry anything. And then I started blacking out, like, having to sit down and stuff like that. So I've been thinking a lot about, and it turned out I had to drink a lot of water. So Roberta's theory, we went on this hike yesterday, and her theory is that I was dehydrated before I gave the blood, and then giving blood, just amplified that. So, and that was weird because I drink water all the time. So anyway, so I've been thinking about my body, and I got to thinking about kind of how we look at our bodies, and it seems to me like the thing that we like to do as humans is think of the body and the mind and the soul or the spirit as three different things. And each one has its own place in our lives, and each thing has its own treatment, and that's kind of, there have been books written about everything. And what I want to say is, as I started in Unity in 1985, it gave me a whole new way of looking at everything. It enabled me to ask questions that I wasn't able to ask before. And after I got through all of that, then just kind of looking at things and seeing like what might be true, or how does science fit into that? Charles Fillmore had a real lust for science. He wanted to get the facts, ma'am. To prove all this stuff that Myrtle, had done in healing her body. And she used her mind to heal her body, right? So what I have learned, and I don't know why I never thought of this before, but I read like 2 books. One is gigantic. I never have finished it. I have to admit. It was about, kind of how we came to believe the things that we believe about our minds. And the other one was called How Emotions Are Made. And these 2 books kind of showed me that what we think of as mental health is brain health. And our brain is an organ of our body. And as far as the soul goes, there's a connection in us. Like when you go They never say, go look for, we're going to get quiet, go look for God, call God in. No, go within, right? And that's even what Jesus said, go within. So if we're going within, our soul is in here too, right? So every part of us, the reason that there are so many books written about body, mind, and spirit, and the connection between them, is because the real answer is they're all one thing. We're all one thing. And I want to do a little mind game here. So we have this, we have an enormous movie collection, the Connelly collection, 50,000 titles and growing daily. But we have this one fabulous little short film. It's like, is it 30 minutes? It's not even 30 minutes, is it?
Which one?
Powers of 10.
Oh, it's not. It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. Have you ever seen it? It's called Powers of 10.
The Ames.
Powers of 10. The
10.
number 10.
Okay.
And
Yes.
so what happens is...
Must see.
You must see it. They have it on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Well, let's take a minute and just watch it.
If I was set up, I would. But I'm going to just describe it to you, and you can imagine it in your mind, and then watch it later because it'll blow you away. So, what they did was they took. There's a couple sitting in a park in Chicago, eating a picnic lunch, and so there's the camera. And it goes up and up and up, and it goes a power of 10 every second, right? It's every second.
Is it that fast?
I think so. Well, I think so. You'll see. But some power of 10. So it's just telling you, like, what's the difference between 10 to the second and 10 to the third? It's this much.
It's 1,000. Yeah.
And so it goes out until you cannot distinguish the Earth from the other stars. I don't know how they did it. I don't know. It was a miracle. It won a bunch of awards. And then, once they get out, the Milky Way, and then they come back.
The universe.
All the way back. You see everything you just saw, and then it goes in to the food or something. I can't remember what it goes into.
Arm,
somebody's arm, yeah. Goes in. All those structures, atoms, blah, blah, blah. Veins, yeah. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Cells.
So I'm telling you all this to remind you that what scientists believe now, and I think they've proven it with like electron microscopes and so forth, that all this stuff that we see is mostly nothing. When you go down past the atomic level, past the electrons, past, I don't know, I didn't really do very well in physics, but all those things, you go past, what there is a whole lot of space. So here we are believing that our body, mind, and spirit is three different things. But the truth is, our body isn't even three different things. Our body is part of all this. So every person is part of it, whatever it is. God. The energy, not even the energy, just the space. And all the time, things are coming together and breaking apart. Coming together, breaking apart. Coming together, breaking apart. And what unity believes is your mind will influence what's coming together in your life. Physically, materially, you're the one that's running it. So we don't have individual bodies necessarily, but we do have individual lives. And we get to choose which things are going to come in and which things are going to go out. That's our job. So some people revere each thing as separate. We have a lot of doctors. I think nurses, don't you think nurses kind of deal with the mind and the spirit also?
Mm-hmm.
But doctors, you know, a lot of them are very analytical, especially surgeons. What do I need to cut out? This, you know, how can I put this back together? My ex-husband my late ex-husband was a medical student, and he did they do rotations in all the different specialties, and he did a rotation in orthopedics. And he said it was just like shop class. You know, they're like screwing things together and, you know, figuring out how they're going to fit and putting extra stuff in there and, you know, gluing stuff. And it was just amazing. But then there are other people who really are dealing with the mind. And I want to not use the word mind anymore. I'm trying very hard to not do it, but people don't understand what I'm talking about when I say the subconscious parts of the brain. It's a brain thing. A lot of people are not doing well with the way their brain works. And so people are trying to, you know, let's try this medicine and let's try this talk therapy and so forth. So the mind is really important. You know, it's our the way that humans have been so successful on the earth, you know, have had such a strong influence, let's say, on the earth, is because we have this ability to distinguish patterns. So we have this way of saying, this is me, this is not me, I want this, I don't want that, you know. It gets us in a lot of trouble, often. And people who are having a problem in their brain are often, they don't know what's really there. They see something different than the generally agreed upon reality. So there's those people. And then there are the soul people who just want to talk about your soul. They want to save your soul.
Yeah.
They want to cleanse your soul. And I don't agree with them. I don't think your soul needs to be saved. I think it's already fine, right where it is. It's doing a service. But this doesn't mean that we don't have stewardship of all these things, right? So this body, we choose. And I brought three lovely books. One is Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. One is Myrtle Fillmore, How to Let God Help You. And one is Hypatia Hasbrook's The Handbook of Positive Prayer. In these three books is all you ever need to know. Not even just the three books, but like little parts of the three books. I'm gonna tell you. So there's a thing. Well, one of the other things that our brain does is tell us a story. What's happening in America right now, I think, is people are telling two different stories of what is good. And who's to blame for you feeling a certain way, right? So we're getting all these stories. And I just want to say, you can choose what story you're telling yourself. This is like the foundation of unity was when Myrtle Fillmore heard that she didn't have to inherit the generational sickness in her family. She had been told all her life that she was going to die of tuberculosis like everybody else in her family because she belonged to that family. And she just said, no, that doesn't sound right to me. And then when she heard, I can't remember the guy's name. Do y'all remember his name? She went to a lecture and she heard a guy say, you are a child of God. You do not inherit sickness. And she said, well, okay. How am I going to do it? What am I going to do about that? And she started talking to her cells. And she did it as long as she needed to do it, which was 7 years. Which is odd because in the Bible, the number 7 is the number of completion, I believe. And so, anyway, I want to tell you what she says. She never wrote a book, but she wrote a lot of letters to people and kind of helping them figure out how to do. Oh, I forgot to tell you this other thing. I'm healing from a major surgery, actually 2 major surgeries that I had a little bit over a year ago. And one of the things that it did was make me limp. And I had a PT who is also a member of Unity tell me, how do you want to walk? And I said, well, I want to walk, even and straight, balanced. And she said, well, just walk like that. Like as if it's just your mind. And I thought, well, there's probably a great deal of truth in that. Because if you get used to doing it a certain way, then your body grows that way. And that's the way you do it. So anyway, this is chapter 9 in How to Let God Help You. And it's called The Mind Receives. As you study, you will learn that your mind receives from 2 sources. The universal mind of being, which has its outlet through your consciousness, and the intellectual activities of the individual minds about you, which have both conscious and subconscious phases of expression. So all of y'all are influencing me and everybody else in this room. Now that which you receive from the mind of God is always good, always helpful, health-inspiring, and peace-inspiring. That which you receive from the reports of your senses or the minds of others may be true and helpful, or it may be false and harmful. The study and practice of truth will help you to discriminate between the false and the true, and to combine rightly the ideas of the Christ mind within you, that you may express and bring forth whatsoever you will. The mind sends its messages along the nerves. Therefore, you can see that the character of your thoughts does affect the nerves. When the thoughts are of worry, fear, anxiety, grief, lack of life, loneliness, lack of supply, or any other negation, the nerves suffer and become depleted or sore. The nerves, being affected by the mind, get into a chronic condition of cross currents from repeated anxious, worried, fearful, sorrowful thoughts, and many forms of nervousness result. The treatment then is to turn one's attention to God, the indwelling Lord, with the happy assurance that all old, disappointing things are dropping away, and the healing, peace-giving, joy-filling, prospering ideas of God's love, life, and substance are filling the mind and heart, quickening new energies in the body. So, when I think of Myrtle Fillmore, I think of a wonderful person, very wise, had good advice, but I kind of think maybe if you're not taking that advice, she might kind of get down on you a little bit. Don't you think? Why are you thinking that? What is it you really believe? Do you really believe you want to have health and prosperity and, friendship and all of that stuff? Or are you addicted? I don't think she would have used the word addicted, but are you addicted to that old stuff? So that's Myrtle. Louise Hay, I used to think that Louise Hay was a little bit over the top because I thought, I heard a lot of people saying, if you have a UTI, it's because you're pissed off at somebody. You know, that kind of thing. Number one, probably not true. And number two, not helpful. It's really not helpful if you tell somebody, you know, the reason that they feel the way they feel.
No,
That it's not, is it? They don't take it well.
it's like blaming.
Blaming, exactly, and shaming. Blaming and shaming. We don't need to be doing that. And I believe I have enough work to do on myself. Just, you know, just when I get everything perfect, I forget something. Like I forget that I am a beautiful child of God, or I forget that I don't inherit sickness, or that, you know, my two siblings died last year within 2 months of each other. So I'm like the only surviving member of my family, and it's really kind of, you know, it's weird. I wonder when you know. So, like Myrtle said, you know, fear of losing your life is right in there. But in truth, what Louise Hay is doing, especially in this book, You Can Heal Your Life, is encouraging you to forgive yourself for whatever it is you did wrong. You know, whatever it is you think you did wrong. You've got a really mean, I know you do, really mean little committee in your head that's bringing up crap from decades ago, you know, and stabbing you with it at your lowest point. And I do the same thing, I think. What the heck am I, you know, what's my life about? Do I have a purpose? What's my purpose, you know? I think stuff like that all the time. You're not doing your purpose. You got a master's degree. What the hell are you doing at home? You need to be out there working, making money.
That's the old thought.
I'm telling you, yeah, and it recurs.
That was long time ago.
Long time ago. So I just want to read you this kind of poem that's in one of the chapters. It may be in the introduction. Yeah, Some Points of My Philosophy is how this book begins. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I believe in a power far greater than I am that flows through me every moment of every day. I open myself to the wisdom within, knowing that there is only one intelligence in this universe. Out of this one intelligence comes all the answers, all the solutions, all the healings, all the new creations. I trust this power and intelligence, knowing that whatever I need to know is revealed to me, and whatever I need comes to me in the right time, space, and sequence. All is well in my world. Is that the most beautiful thing you ever heard? Just amazing. My world. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, right? And that's when you really need to remind yourself even more when, what do they call it? When circumstances seem bad. To remind yourself that you are part of all of this. And you know, anything can change in a moment. Something totally unexpected. So I wrote myself 2 notes that I can't understand what they mean. Oh, Jesus, I was talking about telling yourself a story, you know, how our brains work through stories. We have a left brain, sort of, that has language and kind of an analytical sort of a ability. And then we have a right brain that does not have language. If somebody's left brain is severed, they can't talk. But what the right brain has is metaphors. So you can, and the books that I read on the brain are like, that's where the spiritual part of you is also. So it doesn't necessarily have words, but it has symbols, and it has stories, myths. That's where myths come from. Trying to explain without the words to explain. And Jesus knew everything, I think. He was clairvoyant. He was an energy healer. He was extremely confident in his faith. He knew, all the Hebrew history and wisdom, and he had this real connection with God. He really knew. And he still used stories to make himself clear. So I want to challenge you to tell yourself a story. Tell yourself the story of what you want. Believe. These are 3 things. Believe that your story is. Believe that your story is true. Stay alert. This is, I think the original, correct me if I'm wrong, but the original idea of yoga was that you could train your body to be able to sit for a really long time in a state of alertness. And because they were finding that they probably needed to meditate a little bit longer than they were. It probably takes a little bit more than 5 minutes to actually connect, with universal being. Hi, Clark.
Hi there.
So stay alert to what's going on. Okay, like I think when I first started in Unity in 1985, the first thing that happened to me that proved what I was learning was true was that I got really good parking places. Did y'all have that experience when you first started going to Unity? I would get a parking place like right on the front row. And the older I get and the more I know, I think those parking places were always there. But I had a story that it was hard to get a parking place on the first row. That was my story. My story was, life is pretty hard, and I better work as hard as I can. That was basically it. Nothing comes easy. And so I demonstrated that in a whole bunch of ways. How hard life was and how, there were so many inconveniences and, things you had to overcome. Of course, I was also very young. But nowadays, I believe that people want to help me. I am worthy of love. And my mission is to increase the joy in the lives of customer service representatives. Whenever I call for help, I see the person as helpful. And I try to get us kind of on the same page where they know I'm not gonna yell at them. I'm not gonna be that person. I'm not gonna be the person that wants to talk to the manager. I have this thing that I need, and I know that they have special knowledge that they can share with me. And it works like 99 times out of 100 that this is the most helpful person. They do their very, very best. I had somebody give me a secret number for that we had this terrible plumbing problem, and we had to. Jim gave me the job of calling the city of Austin and seeing if they could come out. Was it on Sunday? It was some
It
kind
was Sunday when we got back from
yeah. It was on a Sunday.
Grand Prairie,
Yeah, and
Sunday afternoon.
yeah, and so
Early.
no, this was before that. This was when we were trying to get them to replace the valve.
Oh, yeah.
And it had gone like weeks and weeks and weeks, months. They had told us months ago that they were going to do it. And I got a customer service person to tell me the private, like the direct line to the guy who could actually get it done. The guy who scheduled the people to go out. No, making the decision to go out, just telling somebody. That stuff got fixed the next day. So these are the kind of little miracles that can happen when you tell yourself that story, that everybody is trying to help me. I've had some beautiful experience. In the medical community, I've had some great experiences just because I believed that, this person is there to help me. So what I want you to do is write your own little story. And what we do in Unity is we use denials and affirmations. This is a very kind of like clunky, old-fashioned kind of a tool, maybe like pliers or a hammer, just real basic. A piece of wood shaped like a triangle. But this is this. And this, by the way, the first course that I ever took in Unity was a little workshop by Hypatia Hasbrook. She came in and spoke to us. I don't know if she's still alive. I didn't check. But she was a teacher at Unity School. And she came, and she has this little book. It's Melissa Lewis. That's me in 1985. And she has every kind of prayer in here. And so if you can get this book, I think it's out of print, but I think you can still get it on Amazon. And you're interested in prayer, in like working with prayer, this is like the book. So this is chapter 4, the use of denial and affirmation. The all-purpose denial. I call it the all-purpose denial. 2 adaptations have already been offered in this book. Here is the basic form. This, whatever this is powerless to take or keep my good from me. This is powerless to take or keep my good from me. In place of the word this, you can substitute a phrase describing the negative appearance or challenge. Denial is a necessary step to take for the sake of the subconscious mind. In the past, we have customarily accepted negative appearances as powerful realities which determine our lives. Now we are practicing positive prayer. We are not recognizing that negative appearances, now that we are practicing positive prayer, we are recognizing that negative appearances are not ultimately real. Remember when I said, mostly what's here is nothing? It's space. So the negative thing just probably isn't real. Not ultimately. It can always change, right? And have only the power we are willing to give them. So if you believe the story of the negative appearance, And if you predict, what a lot of people do is they predict that this thing is going to have a terrible consequence. You know, we're doing a lot of that right now. You know, if this, then, you know,
Chaos.
chaos. Yeah. So this chaos that we see in Washington and LA and, you know, all around Texas, that this is going to destroy us. And I admit it's really not doing us any good. But like I say, anything can change. And when we hold on to the truth, that justice comes, then who knows what will happen. So when we think or say denials, we tell our subconscious minds that they are not to react to the negative appearances, but are to act upon the affirmations which we then make. So to impress the all-purpose denial upon your subconscious mind so that you remember it when you need it. You might wish to write an appropriate adaptation to precede each suggested affirmation in the following list of affirmations. And she gives a list, like pages and pages and pages of what you might say in each instance. So let's say, okay, I'm going to read off some prayer needs. You tell me which one you want to hear. Employment, forgiveness, that is, you forgiving somebody, guidance, harmony, healing, joy, judgment, justice. Let's do justice. Yeah. So this situation, so the general denial is, this situation is powerless to take or keep my good or your good from you. So if you're praying for somebody, let's say our guy that we love so much that works with us, this situation with ICE is powerless to keep his good from him. Divine justice is at work in this situation. Joy. The joy of God fills my heart and mind right now. As a child of God, happiness is my heritage. Guidance. The light of God illuminates my way. I love that one. God reveals right answers in this situation. With God, I know what to do, and I do it.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the thing that she says, you know, to have it available when you need it. I don't know about you, but I grew up in the Baptist church, and they drilled us in Bible verses from the time we could speak, basically. God is love. God is love. We said that, you know, when we were tiny. And big, you know, as we grew, I was in junior high, I memorized entire chapters of Bible verses. And so the point of it, and I've found it to be true, is when you need it, when you need that wisdom, it's in there. So if you have right in your brain that this situation does not have power over me, does not have power to keep my good from me, does not have power to take my good from me. And so anything that you worry about doesn't have any power, does not have the power to keep or take your good from you. And then you have the happy little affirmations. I think one thing that we did when I was first starting, it was we'd write the affirmations, but we'd leave out the denials. Because that word was kind of a buzzword then, that, you know, you weren't being realistic or, you know, and that the affirmations were somehow like magic spells and a little bit of witchcraft, you know. But that's not true. It's like Myrtle said, that the divine mind is revealed through our consciousness. And so you better clean up your consciousness to have it working right, you know, so that you can see what you need to see. I'm going to do another Karen Drucker song because she's written them all, everything. I am a gift, no matter what age, no matter how I look, there's beauty in each stage. I am a gift, and I promise every day, when I look in the mirror, I'll say, I am a gift. I am a gift, I've loved really well, and every year I've lived has a different tale to tell. Made some mistakes, have some regrets, but I promise I'll never forget, I am a gift. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth are just marching on without me. That's when I might need you to find me, ever so gently remind me that I am a gift, a precious child, put here on this earth, but only for a while. So I make this vow and I say it with love, I am perfect and whole and enough, I am a gift. There may be times when you forget the truth about you, when it seems time and youth are just marching on without you. That's when I might need to find you, ever so gently remind you that you are a gift, a precious child, put here on this earth, but only for a while. So I tell you now, and I say it with love, you are perfect and whole and enough. You are a gift. You are a gift. We are a gift.